So, hello, YouTubers. Today, there's some things I feel you may want to know. There are a lot of things I didn't learn till not too long ago, and I found it to be quite interesting. So, I'm going to share a few things that I think will be valuable to some of you. Some of you already know them, but anyway, just take it down, and I want you to research what I'm telling you so you won't just think I'm making this up. So, you have the facilities to research what you're doing and find out the all other truth. But I think it'll be quite educational what you're going to learn today. Stay tuned. There's much many didn't learn that's interesting to me, and perhaps interesting to others also. I'm regularly astonished by facts I never learned, I should have learned, some important, some amusing, and some just plain interesting. The good old USA. I truly wouldn't want to be anywhere else other than the United States of America. A great country. Some say it was much better than it is now at one time. Even two of our presidents ran their campaign on the slogan, Make America Great Again. I've thought about that for a while, and I want to start things off before we get into these other facts by sharing some of my personal opinion of when I thought America was greater than it is now. In my opinion, America was great when you could call a company and talk to a human being, other than automation or being put to go to this number or go to that number, and you could talk directly to a human. To me, America was great then. I feel America was great when people greeted you with a smile. Good morning, good evening, how you doing? To me, America was great then. America was great when people or certain groups of people wouldn't attempt to force others or insist others agree with their behavior or their lifestyles. America was great when neighbors and family cared more for each other. America was great when division among people wasn't so rapid and encouraged by the left and the right. Politics. America was great when the news was the news, not different teams in combat pointing the finger at each other constantly. At that time, to me, America was greater than it is now. Of course, that's strictly my opinion, personally. And so, with that said, let's move on to what we're going to talk about today. Some facts known by few people that might be interesting to you. And I don't want you just to take this from me. I want you to research and get the full facts yourself. Don't just take my word. Today we have all kinds of resources. Even on a cell phone, it's right there in your hand. So whether you go to the library, whether you research and read about it, whether you get on your desktop, your laptop, your notepad, whatever you get on, research what I'm telling you today so you won't just think I'm making up something or just putting it out there. Okay, first thing, do most of you know what the requirements are to be President of the United States of America? Well, back in 1787, right after the founding of this great nation, they decided on this. There are only three requirements to be President of the United States, according to Article 2, Section 1 of the U.S. Constitution. First of all, you have to be a resident of this country for at least 14 years. You have to be 35 years old and or a natural born citizen of the United States of America. That's all it takes to run for the office of President of the United States. No, you don't have to have any experience in government. You don't have to be a senator, a congressman. Of course, all of this helps. But you can just be a natural you and fit those requirements to run for the office of President of the United States of America. The rest is left to the voters who put that person in office. The next thing should be interesting to our Christian listeners today, the ones that came up under the King James Version of the original Holy Bible, like myself. All of us need to know this next item. Did most of you know there was at one time a published version of the Holy Bible, and it was called the Slave Bible. It was used to educate Africans, and they used this to teach Africans how to read. But there were several things taken from this book and several things that was highlighted in this book, particularly targeted to slaves. The year was 1807 in London, England. So many missionaries, Christians, they got together and they decided, because of the need for slavery, before publishing of this slave Bible, 90% of the Old Testament was taken out, slave scriptures, and also 50% of the New Testament was taken out of the New Testament and the original King James Version Bible. I bet most of you didn't know this. Now, this particular book that was taken from the Bible on display in Washington, D.C. at the Bible Museum in Washington, D.C., and also Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee. So you check it out yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Go look it up, and you can find out a little bit more about the Slave Bible taken from the original King James Version. The next topic is interesting also. Do most of you know what the requirements are for purchasing a firearm in your state? We're just going to look at one state and look at the requirements for buying a gun. In the state of Texas, you only have to be 18 years old to purchase a long gun. That means it also includes the AR-15. And you only have to be 21 years old to buy a handgun. Also in the state of Texas, there are no background checks. All you have to do is meet those requirements to show your age to buy a gun in the state of Texas. And there are some restrictions on being a felon, but it's only after so many years. And then you're still eligible with the same qualifications to buy a firearm. Our last topic today can be humorous, or you may just consider it just a fact that's interesting to people. And like I say, I was a very mature adult before I found out about this. I'm talking to all the people that may like seafood, like myself. I love seafood. And today let's talk about a clam. Have you ever heard of a clam called a geoduck? And that's spelled Gooeyduck. A geoduck clam. This is a very strange looking creature from the ocean that in some places are delicacy food. It's called a geoduck. What you're observing now is the geoduck. This is the natural way that it looks, and it is a delicacy. I just thought that was quite strange, and I just found that out a few years ago. And why it was so interesting to me, that was something I could tell people older than me, and they hadn't even heard of the geoduck clam. So check it out yourself. It's really something to look at and something to talk about. Well, life is full of surprises. So I hope this was educational to you all. But as I said at the beginning, please research. Use your phone, use Alexa, use whatever you need to use. But seek yourself to find out what's going on. It's very interesting. Some is amusing, some is educational. See you next time.